Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard this Air France message. From now on, enjoy complimentary high-speed Wi-Fi powered by Starlink, available in all air cabins. Stay connected to the people and things that matter most. Your emails, your music, your current favorite series, or even a live sporting event. With Air France high-speed Wi-Fi, bring your world on your journey. Elegance is a journey. Air France. Available on certain flights. Progressive rollout in 2026. Reserved for Flying Blue members. The free loyalty program.
Mom, I saw Dylan's dad make dinner. Actually cook, and it was straight fire. He said it was Blue Apron Assemble and Bake. All the ingredients showed up pre-chopped, and he just laid it out on a baking sheet, and no cap. Dinner was on the table in 25 minutes. Apparently, it's chef-designed, and it has over 40 grams of protein. That's a lot, right? So maybe we try it. Just saying. You can be the next Dylan's dad. Blue Apron. Get $50 off your first 2 orders plus free shipping with code STIR50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Carvana's so easy. Just a click, and we've got ourselves a car. See?
So many cars. That's a click-tastic inventory.
And check out the financing options. Payments to fit our budget. That's
Clickonomics 101.
delivery to our door.
Just a hop, skip, and a click away.
And what?
No better feeling than when everything just clicks. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
The parking lot was nearly empty. Nobody had shown up to give him a ride. Little Jalen Blake was all alone, waiting, with a backpack that weighed almost as much as he did, holding onto a bowl of papier-mâché eggs. "Do you need a ride, Jalen?" Asking that was the vice principal, Mr. Gobert. Little Jalen Blake shook his head and said that he could walk. Mr. Gobert asked if he was sure about that and then quickly followed up with another question, asking if he would like him to call his mom. Little Jalen Blake had already started walking in the other direction, careful not to lose a grip on the papier-mâché eggs. He raised his voice only a decibel or two, telling Mr. Gobert that it was not a far walk. Mr. Gobert had no choice but to let him walk, even though the idea of a third grader walking home alone was not something he felt comfortable with. He quickly jogged back towards the office, hoping to find a phone before little Jalen Blake got too far. Tiny legs, along with the added weight on his back and hands, was not slowing him down. He seemed eager to get home and prove that he was big enough to make the trek all alone, proving once and for all that he was in fact a big boy. The walk was not that far. Little Jalen Blake did not know the exact distance, but his parents knew it precisely. 2.37 miles. When you're on the path to prove that you're a big boy, distance loses all meaning. He would be there soon to show off his papier-mâché eggs, until they were knocked out of his hands. "Whoops!" the older voice cackled, followed by the muffled laughter of minions. Little Jalen Blake slunk to the ground on his knees and bellowed, "Why did you do that?" His big eyes were already starting to well up with tears. He desperately tried to put the eggs back together, but it was a lost cause. They had stained the sidewalk. There was nothing left to show off, nothing left to bring home and be proud of. All he had now were dirty hands. "Me?" the older face said sarcastically. "You dropped it, Jalen." Standing over Jalen with a mischievous smile was Matt Saunders, a middle schooler with a penchant for bullying, especially people like Jalen who looked different from him and his friends, who believed that Jalen was an outsider. He kept taunting Jalen while his 3 minions of similar age and discriminatory behavior stood nearby, muffling their laughter. "Maybe you should have been more careful, Jalen. These sidewalks can be real tricky to walk on. Why don't you use your nappy head to clean it up? It'll stick right to your hair." One of the minions laughed loudly. The other 2 seemed to saunter a bit, unsure of how far this is going to go. "Go on, Jalen. Let's test it out. Why don't you put your head down to the ground, and let's see if we can use your head as a mop." Matt grabbed Jalen's head and squeezed, holding it tightly as Jalen winced and pleaded. "No, please, 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 please. I won't tell. Please, please let me go." "Oh, I like that, Jalen," Matt said. "Keep begging. It might not help, but it can't hurt. Am I right?" Matt laughed. His sinister smile merged into demonic glee. He was reveling in Jalen's sadness. And now he was holding Jalen's face toward what had previously been his prized possession, but was now just a remnant of happiness. "Stop fighting, Jalen. We're only trying to help. You don't want to get in trouble for making our sidewalk a mess, do you? You see, Jalen, around here, we like to keep our streets clean. But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Jalen's face was now inches from the ground which was becoming wet from Jalen's tears as he struggled to keep his cheek from hitting pavement. I'm going to count to 5, Jalen. Either you stop moving, or I'm going to get really angry. Is that what you want, Jalen? Do you want to see me get angry? Because right now I'm being nice, but that's going to stop at the count of 5, okay? 1, 2, 3. It happened so quick he didn't even feel the pain coming from the back of his head until he was now on his back seeing stars. He could hear some scuffling, but that was all. Everything else was just one continuous stream of static. Matt had been knocked to the ground with something resembling a fist. The next thing he felt was the face of his favorite minion, the one who seemed to really enjoy all of Matt's jokes at Jalen's expense. This minion was now bleeding out of his nose and mouth as he cried on the ground next to Matt. Standing above him now was a new kid. He appeared to be the same age, yet his strength would prove otherwise. His stoic nature was a decade beyond his boyish face. There was a calm and confidence to the subtle way he looked down at Matt that struck an extra gear of fear into this bully of a body. The new kid bent down and reached into Matt's pocket. He pulled out his wallet and then looked at his school ID. Matt Saunders. The new kid leaned in, just a little closer, to make sure there was no misinterpretation of what Matt would hear next. I know your name. You don't know mine. But if you ever pick on my friend Jalen again, you will know my name. And I promise you, it will be the last thing you ever know. Nod if you hear me. Matt nodded. Good. Now, open your mouth. What? Matt said, even though it was clear to everyone that he had heard him through the ringing in his ears and the stars in his eyes. The new kid repeated himself, but this time there was an echo to his voice that seemed to tremble along the gravel. Open your mouth. Matt did as told, while his 2 non-fighting minions remained frozen with fear nearby. The new kid unzipped his fly and proceeded to use Matt's mouth as a toilet. As soon as he felt the warm urine swimming around his mouth, he rolled over and began to spit profusely while choking and crying with embarrassment. The new kid used the side of Matt's face and then the back of Matt's head as target practice until he was finally finished unloading a urination of immense gratification. The new kid zipped back up and then turned to the 2 frozen minions. Same goes for you 2. You mess with Jalen, you'll know my name. Is that what you want? They both shook their heads in unison quickly, terrified. Good. Now run home, before I have to piss again. They turned and ran in unison with a frenzied pace, unsure of which direction to go. The new kid turned back to Jalen and held out his hand. Let's get you home. Jalen took the new kid's hand and walked down the street with him as Matt and the main minion slowly got up in silence. Neither of them were laughing now. Sorry about your eggs. Matt and the minions were long gone by now. Jalen still had damp cheeks from the tears, which he had done a decent job hiding ever since his new friend took his hand and allowed him safe passage through this part of town that he had never walked through alone before. It's okay, Jalen said. Maybe we'll make more next week. It's not okay, the new kid told him. What they did to you? But I'm going to make sure they don't do that anymore. Okay? Jalen nodded and said softly, Thanks. They turned the corner that let Jalen know they were almost home. How come you're so nice to me? Jalen asked. Because, the new kid told him. You're a nice person. The next thing he said to Jalen was not as soft, not as comforting. This next part was just for him. I don't like bullies. Jalen stopped outside of his house and turned to his new best friend. Do you want to come in for sandwiches? My mom makes great sandwiches. Thanks, the new kid told him. I wish I could, but I gotta get back. Where do you have to go? Jalen asked. My school. They'll be wondering where I went. What school do you go to? Jalen asked, looking up to him with hope. It's kind of a secret school. Secret school? Jalen repeated with intrigue and admiration. Yeah, it's a school for kids who get sick sometimes. Jalen felt a pit in his stomach. His new best friend was sick. That didn't seem fair. Not by a mile. Are you sick? Jalen asked. No, he told him. Just sometimes. But I'll be better soon. I hope so, Jalen told him. Me too, the new kid said back with a protective smile. Do you want to come over sometime and play Atari? Jalen asked with a beaming smile of hope. Yeah, the new kid said. That'd be cool. I better get going, though. Nice to meet you, Jalen. The new kid started walking away. When he got about 10 feet from the sidewalk, Jalen asked, Hey, what's your name? The new kid turned around, just long enough to give an answer. My name's Gavin. He smiled, waved, and then kept going. Jalen held up his waving hand even when Gavin could no longer see it. Jalen was so grateful to have a new friend, a protector. If only this moment could have lasted beyond brevity. Within 10 seconds, Gavin had turned the corner and vanished from Jalen's vision before the blink of his tiny eyes. The world suddenly felt cold again. The white clouds seemed to expand and scream into gray. But then Jalen looked back down at his hands, and all of a sudden, a little smile trickled up his throat. He couldn't wait to go tell his parents that he had made a new friend.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
Did you know that you can save up to 70% on the best brands just by shopping at FromRevel.com? We're talking strollers, car seats, high chairs, espresso machines, cookware, everything you need for way less. Here's how it works. Every single day, Rebel drops thousands of new products on the site for up to 70% off. It's a constant stream of endless deals from top brands like UPPAbaby, Nuna, Baby Bjorn, Breville, Nespresso, KitchenAid, Le Creuset, and more. But you have to act fast because every deal is one of a kind. So if you see something you love, make sure you add to cart fast. So stop paying full price when you don't have to. Whether it's baby gear, kitchen upgrades, or a treasure for your home you didn't know you needed, Revel has it for way less, up to 70% less. Shop from Revel.com and save big.
Hey, Sal.
Hank, what's going on? We haven't worked a case in years.
I just bought my car at Carvana, and it was so easy. Too easy.
Think something's up?
You tell me. They got thousands of options. Found a great car at a great price. And it got delivered the next day.
It sounds like Carvana just makes it easy to buy your car, Hank.
Yeah, you're right. Case closed.
Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
His house was empty. Jalen had never come home to an empty house before. It was so quiet, so still. As if all the colors had been hung out to dry and he was left with only gray. He ran throughout both stories of his house, but all he could find were his own fears. It wasn't like Mom or Dad to leave him alone. Mom usually picked him up from school. Not only had she not shown up, but she was nowhere to be found now. Jalen checked every room and closet. He even checked under the beds, twice, just to be extra safe. Nothing. He was alone. Finally, there was a knock at the front door. Mom, he thought. Jalen went sprinting down the stairs while clinging to the railing after one too many times he had slipped and his mother repeatedly warned him to hold on to the railing if he's wearing socks. Better safe than sorry, Bugaboo, was a phrase he had grown warmly accustomed to. Standing behind the front door was Mrs. Steele, one of the friendly neighbors with kids of her own who lived right next door. Hey, Jalen, she said with a big glowing smile. Your dad said to come check up on you because he's working late tonight. Are you doing okay? Do you want to come over to our place until he gets home? Oh, my mom usually picks me up from school, Jalen told her. Yes, she said. Your mom... Mrs. Steele turned quickly. Her whole body had swiveled away as she moved towards the porch steps. Her back twitched a bit. It must be a big sneeze brewing, Jalen thought. After a couple seconds, she turned back around, but this time her eyes had changed. They were now filled with water and half shut. She was trying to shield her face as she spoke with a stilted breath. Your dad said it might be better for you to hang out at our place until he got home. I know Jeremy would be really happy to show you his new toys. He's got... She did it again, turning away, covering her face, her back twitching in this rapid fire of repression. This was beyond a big sneeze, Jalen thought. She seemed sick. What's wrong, Mrs. Steele? Nothing, sweetheart, she said, wiping away her tears. Say, how about I go get you a snack, and then we can eat it here? Would you like that? Sure, Jalen said. That sounds fun. Great, Mrs. Steele said, as one loose tear managed to slide down her cheek unwiped. I'll even bring over a couple of Jeremy's new toys. Will you promise to stay inside until I get back? How does that sound, Jalen? Sounds good, Jalen told her. Okay, she said. I'll be right back. Okay? Jalen watched her walk across the street back towards her own house. He closed the door softly and then went inside so he could sit on the couch and stare outside. His dad used to joke that Jalen was like a cat, the way he so enjoyed sitting on the couch staring outside. He could do it for a whole hour, just watching the world go by with so much calm. His mother found it cute. She found everything about Jalen to be cute. He was her little guy, her favorite thing in the world. Now it was beginning to get dark out. Dark enough that Jalen went around and turned on all of the lights. Anything resembling a shadow had to be vanquished, and pronto. Once the house had been properly lit, Jalen went back to his couch and waited patiently for the return of Mrs. Steele. But she would never come back. Jalen would spend the rest of the night alone, waiting. The couch felt more cozy. Sleeping in his room far from the rest of the world was too tall an order for a guy as small as Jalen. Fortunately, he knew where some of the yummy snacks were located, so with the proper placement of a kitchen chair, he could reach up and get the peanut butter. After that, it was a couple slices of bread, mixed with some fresh jelly, and Jalen had his supper in spades. The sugar rush spiked and crashed, resulting in Jalen falling asleep at a somewhat reasonable hour. Dreams of having the whole house to yourself were much more fun in dreams than they were in reality. He watched a little TV, drank a little soda, read some comic books, but he couldn't stop wondering where his parents were. Mommy and Daddy. Even Mrs. Steele. She said she would be right back. Jalen had to count the hours. That was nearly 13 hours ago. The sun was only now beginning to poke its head back up into the sky. It was a school day. There was a routine. Mom would wake up Jalen. He'd brush his teeth, get dressed, make sure all his books were in his backpack. Mom would give him breakfast, usually cereal because it was quicker. And then Dad would drop him off at school before he went to work. If his parents were gone, did that mean he still had to go to school? Jalen didn't know, but he hoped the answer was no. If the answer was yes, he might have to see Matt and his scary friends again. Unless his new friend showed up, Gavin. Just the name made him breathe easy. Jalen decided to get ready. He had been a big boy for the past Jalen had to count again, using his fingers. 16 hours. Jalen had been a big boy for nearly 16 hours. So why stop now? Mom would be so proud of her little guy. So would Dad. Getting ready all by himself. So he brushed his teeth, got dressed, made sure all of his books were in his backpack, made himself some cereal, put the bowl and spoon into the sink, let some water splash over both of them, plopped each one back into the drying rack, and then he went outside ready for the new day. It didn't take long for him to notice it. As soon as his feet touched the sidewalk, there it was. Mrs. Steele. She had hung herself on a tree in their front yard. Jalen froze. He didn't know what to make of it. He took a couple steps forward to get a better look. That had to be some sort of Halloween decoration. It looked so real, he thought. And then he got closer. By the time his feet hit the Steele's front lawn, he realized it was not a decoration. It was Mrs. Steele. Dead. Her eyes had rolled back into her head. Her body continued to lightly sway. Even though there was no wind, the air was silent. Jalen walked up towards her and said, "Mrs. Steele?" His eyes began to water. As he reached for her foot, a scream was heard from down the street. He turned. A man was in hysterics. Mr. Salvatore. He was screaming about something. Jalen couldn't tell what it was at first. He had to walk back over towards the sidewalk on this side of the street in order to get a clear view of what it was. As soon as he did, he wished he hadn't. Mrs. Salvatore. She had hung herself on a tree in their front yard. He heard another scream from behind him. Another scream from a man. The voice sounded familiar. It sounded like Mr. Chandler. But Jalen didn't turn around this time. He couldn't. What he had seen already was too much for anyone, especially a little guy like him. So he just sat on a sidewalk and closed his eyes, hoping, praying, that this was just some nightmare. That when he would open his eyes back up, everything would go back to how it was supposed to be. But it wouldn't. If only Jalen knew how bad it would become, maybe then he would have opened his eyes sooner.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard this Air France message. From now on, enjoy complimentary high-speed Wi-Fi powered by Starlink, available in all air cabins. Stay connected to the people and things that matter most. Your emails, your music, your current favorite series, or even a live sporting event. With Air France high-speed Wi-Fi, bring your world on your journey. Elegance is a journey. Air France. Available on certain flights. Progressive rollout in 2026. Reserved for Flying Blue members. The free loyalty program.
Hey, Sal.
Hank, what's going on? We haven't worked a case in years.
I just bought my car at Carvana, and it was so easy. Too easy.
Think something's up?
You tell me. They got thousands of options. Found a great car at a great price. And it got delivered the next day.
It sounds like Carvana just makes it easy to buy your car, Hank.
Yeah, you're right. Case closed.
Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
You look like you deserve a fresh start to the new year, and there's nothing better than a classic California road trip. Everyone at Rush Creek Lodge and Spa at Yosemite is ready to welcome you with open arms and miles of smiles. Rush Creek's the ideal base camp for exploring Yosemite's wide open spaces, breathtaking scenery, and pristine mountain air. Go to rushcreeklodge.com and use promo code CHILL to get half off your third night on winter stays.